Hello, my name is Buck Mayers, Director of Instruction at the Buck Mayers Golf Academy in Austin, Texas. We're here at our 3D Imaging and Capture Center. What we're going to do today is go over a few things about biomechanical analysis. We're supported by a PGA Tour doctor and partner named Dr. Troy Van Biezen and his team in Dallas, Texas at our Motion Sports Institute. Our goal is to reduce the risk of injury and improve performance. We've analyzed over 100 PGA players and have determined that the critical points of interest at setup and your movement patterns are critical to reducing injuries, pain. Also, we can diagnose physical limitations. We can measure and calculate and validate motion efficiency with numbers. So we're going to go over today, we're going to use Tommy Armour as our guide here, and we're going to use the composite swing tour model, the one on the right. So that would be Tommy Armour on the left. Tommy's had a history in the past of having injuries with his back. One of the first things we noticed that he needed to work on was his hip tilt. You can see the green line here, the one on the left, that he's in a negative hip tilt. Ideally, we'd like to see you in a positive hip tilt. Also, when you get into a negative hip tilt, typically the torso tilt gets a little bit too extreme, which in his case is probably about 5 degrees, as you can see, over the torso tilt of a PGA Tour player. Now, how that affects pain or injuries and so forth is your spine angle. If you look at the blue line, you can see that with the tour player on the right, the blue line is right through the middle of the skull, which means his spine is ideally matched to his torso. The one on the left, you can see that the blue line is to the right of that. So during the course of the motion, you're going to see a lot of interaction between hip tilt and torso tilt in relationship to the spine. So which in evidence can show that he has some pain and obviously has had some injuries over the past couple of years with his back because of that position. And when we go to the down the line view, you're going to see a similar, as far as numbers, as far as the torso bend and the hip bend. Now he is a little taller than the composite swing tour model, which means he's going to be a little bit more bent over. But I want you to notice the space between the balance points of the ball of his feet and his hips. You can see that he's a little bit back toward his heels. So when we pull up vertical plane, he's actually sitting back, which creates a little bit more bend from the hips as well as the torso. And you can see the differential there is quite a bit. The biggest difference is going to be, again, in his hip bend, just like you saw in his hip tilt. When we pull up the spine angle from this position, you can see that the composite tour player is about 55 degrees with a 6-iron, and with Tommy it's about 50 degrees. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is when we're working with our players, we can come up with averages and numbers of what is the ideal range as far as numbers in the spine, tilt and bend, hip tilt and bend, and torso tilt and bend. Those three things are very important for us when we're actually doing foundation fitness and form, which is if you have pain, if you have injuries, if you have physical limitations and such, it's going to affect your form. Therefore, you're not going to improve. You're not going to get any better. In fact, you're probably going to have more risk to future injuries and future pain in the future. So anyway, that's the tidbit for today in Austin, Texas. Next, we're going to get into the motion of the body. Thank you.